Today I'm going to discuss the components of my Alaskan comparison project. First, let's start with the standards. In my district, we have some standards for social studies. One of them is to create a project that compares and contrasts housing, family structures, clothing, language, art, and use of environmental resources between at least two Alaska Native groups. And the other one is to create a map showing the geographic location of these Alaska Native groups. Next, we have the Alaska Content Standards. Under the strand of history, we have students should develop skills and processes of historical inquiry. Then we also have the NET standards. We are going to cover two, communication and collaboration. So the students are going to use a digital media portal to communicate and collaborate in partners. And the last one we have is research and information fluency. So in order to complete the project, they will be conducting some research to organize into their digital media project. The main objective is students are going to use what they're going to work collaboratively to gain a deeper understanding of the differences between the Alaska Native groups that they choose, and they're also going to be navigating a new digital media resource called Extra Normal. Within this project, students are going to gain understandings of what does it mean to work collaboratively. They are also going to locate the regions in which these groups are located in the state of Alaska. They're also going to learn a new digital media project and hopefully come up with new ways to use it in the future. And lastly, they're going to learn how to communicate via distance with a different school, and hopefully learn some public speaking skills through that also. By the end of the project, students will have completed a map that depicts the locations. They are also going to create a project to display their knowledge of comparing and contrasting the two Native groups that they choose. They are also going to use a peer evaluations for working collaboratively. There are a couple of ways that I plan to assess the students on the completion of their project. First of all, we will have a rubric for the comparison project. So the rubric will go over how well they organize their information. Did they get all of the aspects that we are looking to compare and contrast between the two groups? There will also be a peer evaluation rubric in which the students will look at the way they collaborated together. They will have a Venn diagram for their comparison project, and then I will have a rubric to go over how well they work together as a team. There will also be other kinds of evidence such as note-taking during their research, and then the idea of completing the Venn diagram. The first rubric that will be used is the comparison project rubric. This was created with Ruby Star, an online rubric generator. They're going to look at the aspects of each group, how well they were able to make a map, their collaboration, how well they communicated with the neighboring school, and then their research fluency. So all of these categories are going to cover the standards directly. The students will also have a peer evaluation form. So this is for them and their other group members that they will be working with. We're going to look at how well they worked collaboratively. Were they dependable? Were they willing to take the assigned task and contribute to the overall project? And at the end, they can total their score to come up with an end total. Lastly, we also have a cooperative learning rubric. This will be filled out by me, as I will be also looking at how well they work together to meet that standard. Here we have the stage 3 of the Understanding by Design template. This is where we lay out the plan for the project. We're going to start with the main idea of what does collaborate mean. We're going to do a quick write, have the students come up with, what does it look like? Let's draw a picture, and then tell a time when they worked collaboratively. The expectations will be laid out for the students. They're going to create a map of the geographic locations. They will compare and contrast at least 2 native groups. They will work collaboratively, and then they will share or communicate their learned knowledge. And we're going to use Blackboard Collaborate. This is what our district uses to conduct our distance learning classes. So the students are already kind of familiar with the program, and it'll go real well into using that technology. As I mentioned, there are a couple of rubrics that will be used to assess the completion of the project. We also have a pre-test. I want to know how well the students are, how much knowledge do they have about their cultures and the Alaska Native groups in general. I'm going to give them a map to see if they can locate them before we actually do that together as a class. We have a couple of tasks assigned throughout the project. The first one will be to create this map. That way they will be knowledgeable of what they're looking for. And then they're going to have some background onto how to choose which 2 groups they would like to compare. We will model how to locate information on the internet in order to do both of these tasks, making the map and then completing their Venn diagram. Then they will use extranormal.com to display their learned knowledge. There is a how-to video on this program. The students will come to extranormal.com with me, and we will watch the how-to video. They make their own little avatar that will be telling the information that they learned about each group. So it's kind of neat, a little creative. It is the 3rd grade project, so I think it'll be really interactive for that age group. Lastly, we're going to have task 4. The students are going to share their project through Blackboard. As I mentioned earlier, some of them are familiar with the program already, but we will do a model just in case. We have a neighbor school picked out to do this project with, and hopefully the students will practice, will organize all their information so that they can use those public speaking skills also. Then at the end, we're going to do the rubrics together, and I also intend to share the results of these rubrics with the students. So by the end of the project, here we are back at stage 1 again. We will have covered every standard mentioned in the goals section. The students will have completed everything in the acquisition stage, their end product will be. So I intend for this to be a very interactive unit. Also, there's lots of technology involved that I hope the students will learn with.